Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flourgoldwizards channel. I'm Jason, a part-time gold prospector based in Wisconsin. And behind me and all around me is my mining team. We got Rigby back there, the world's most famous gold sniffing hound and mine boss. We also have Rexaroni and Bowser. These boys are fired up today, and so am I. We're at a spot where we can get all kinds of gold today. It's extremely small, and there's some secret techniques to get at it, but it's definitely capturable. The water's up a little bit high today, but we'll figure that out too. And by the way, we are at our secret campsite location. I've never seen another soul back here once, and let's hope it stays that way. So I'm going to gather up my gear. We're going to do some classifying, try to set up a sluice in this high water. We're going to find some gold. Now, just because we know there's gold here doesn't mean we're not going to do a test pan. Who knows? Somebody could have snuck down here when I wasn't here and got all my gold. I highly doubt it. This place is a secret. Or the floods may have come in and washed all the gold out and filled it back in with material that doesn't have any gold. Also doubtful. And it's just plain old fun. Now, behind me, I want you to take note of something. See how right here, the current is coming along pretty darn fast. We had over 1.5 inches of rain yesterday, and it shows. But right up there, right in that pocket right there, there's a slight inside bend coming right here, and the water is rushing by there, but it's creating a dead pool right there. You can actually see the bubbles going backwards up against the stream. We've been digging in this area right here and doing pretty darn good. So I'm going to take a test pan of that right there and see if we can't find a little color before we start classifying. Ooh, yeah. Now here's that material right here. Now there's not much clay in this stuff yet, but there is a red clay layer down just a little bit, and we will get there. But I have found gold in this stuff too. So we'll go ahead and give this a panning up. This stuff is incredibly easy to pan. The material is real light. You get rid of some of these larger bits here. Yeah, look at that. You get down there, and I mean, there's a lot of black sand. But once you get in that clay, this stuff here, I don't know if it'll contain all that much black sand. But we will see today, once I get down in that clay, it's like a real silty red clay. And it's just absolutely puking choked with black sand. I did a video down here last year and putting scoops on my sluice over there, and you could just see gobs and gobs of black sand. Well, you know, gold does ride an iron horse. That's an expression referring to the black sand, a lot of it being iron related. And it's heavy, and the gold is heavy, and it all kind of concentrates in the same areas here. So we'll get that one down a little bit further. We'll take just a little bit of a peek. And surprisingly enough, we found a couple of pieces of gold. There is a fair amount of black sand in there, as you can see, but most importantly, there's a couple of pieces of gold right there. Now that piece right there is exceptionally big for here. So is that one, for that matter. You're going to see some mighty small gold today, and that's what it's all about. Flourgoldwizards. These guys like looking for flour gold too. Like I said before, there's a trick to getting this stuff. You got to be gentle. You got to massage the material. You got to massage your sluice over there a little bit, because this stuff will get blown out of your system, no problem at all. So I'm going to get busy and start classifying up a few pails. We're going to get our sluice set up over there, and we're going to get to scooping. we've got our sluice up and running. It might not be dialed in perfectly yet, but it's pretty darn close. We've got exorbitant amounts of water going over it right now, but that can still work too. As long as you don't have too much pitch and your system is actually capturing material. Now there's still some brown material in here. I've got one small scoop on there I did just for a test. And you know, I'm gonna throw a few more on there before I determine whether I'm gonna mess with the settings here. I mean, it's not just blowing right off the indicator, the flare end right here. It's kind of creeping down, and you don't want to have too little flow or too little pitch. Sometimes that could be just as bad as having too much. Too little, and your riffles are just going to get packed up with material, and your gold will float right over the top. There is a little bit of science to this. You definitely want to get that little vortex action going behind those riffles, but just enough that it switches out the lights for the heavies. Too much flow and pitch, and the heavies will just scoot on through right out of that little vortex, but just the right amount, and it'll get trapped back in those little eddies. So I'll throw a few more on there, take a look at how we're running, and well, run it. And we'll take a little bit of a look. I'm gonna get spun around over here. We got our bucket of material. Yeah, there it is. And see how much water I got going on there? That's dang near up to the top of that flare, but only on that one side, but it kind of flattens out once you get in there a little bit. I'll dump some on there, and we'll take a little look, see what I mean. It's not just blasting right off of there, and it's running down pretty slowly, and they are dancing around those little riffles. It's pretty tough to tell, but I do believe that's going to work just fine. And if it doesn't, all you would need to do, see, I'll back up out of here. You see how I just grabbed one rock, and I've got that sitting up on there, and that bulges the water up just a little bit, giving me just a little bit of a pitch there. And if I had too much water, like, you know, I'd just take a rock right here, and I'll move it right there. See that? Just like that. That cut my water way down on there. I mean, there's hardly any water going over the sluice now, so we definitely don't want that. I think we'll stick to what we had before. Lots of flow. So let's go. This has got to be one of my favorite activities in the whole wide world of all time right here. This is relaxing. Just the thought of maybe striking it rich or finding any gold at all. There's my boys right there. Look how handsome they are. They absolutely love it here. Love it. They're running around. They're taking a little fiver now. But this is what it's all about right here. Who wants to see a magic trick? Oh, they knew what's up. It's almost snack time. I just wanted to make sure I packed it. We're going to have some smoked salmon here. Brown sugar smoked salmon from Meat Skis. That is a treasure right there. Let me tell you. Not just yet, boys, but good ears. Holy cow. They heard that. All right, we've got it. That bucket run. And I'm just doing a little mat inspection. I pulled it up and out of the water. It was trying to slide down that, that flat rock over there, and I didn't want to lose it. And upon inspection, I do see like some pieces of lead. There's a little bit of round lead shot right there. And there's another one actually right there. I don't see any visible gold. There's another piece of lead right there. We're down in the heavies for sure. But you can see it's full of black sand. Like I said, I do not see any visible gold, but that's to be expected when it's this small. Let's get it into that bucket right there. Well, heck, let's just do it. Just like that. We'll give her some splashings. There we go. I would guess that's going to be pretty darn clean. Let's take a little look. Indeed, pretty darn clean. All right, let's throw that in the pan. Take a look at her. Looks good and clean. All right. Got a fairly good amount of material. Let's have a little sit. And we'll do some panning. Isn't that right? And here's all that material right here. There's a little bit of blonde sands left in there, but that sluice holds on to a little bit of everything, it looks like. But once you get that little layer of blonde sands off of there, it's solid black material. Just look at that. It's deep and it's thick. It's super small black sand, just like the gold. So it's going to take me a little while to go through, but we will get through it. Come on, big chunks of gold. Now, I don't have it cleaned down 100% all the way. It's difficult. This stuff is so small. Now, there's them pieces of lead I was talking about, and this is all my washback right here. But there are a good number of pieces of gold in this here pan. Let me see if I can make this happen. I might have to get out of the glare here a little bit somehow. But take a look at that right there. You see all those little shiny dots right there? That's gold. The smallest gold you ever did see. That is a fact. There are a couple of slightly bigger ones, and you know, there's still a whole bunch in this black sand right here, but it's floating all over the place. But trying to get every little speck out of that stuff out here in the field is just cutting into our production time. And we still got to have a snack for the boys. I tell you what, high maintenance. Well, we will have a snack. We're going to take a little walk over to the picnic area. We got a little bit of a swamp back in here up that way. And get over this here log. It's pretty nice. I mean, there's a couple of bugs out here. I got bit by a fly, but there's no mosquitoes. And the flies are, you know, there aren't very many of them. Just that one who liked my back. All right, here's the picnic area right here. Got a little fire spot right there. Got a little chair. All right, brush off the debris. We're gonna relax, have a little snack. That's right. I don't know if there's any other food in the world I'd rather eat if I could only eat one more than smoked salmon. I'm telling you what. Oh yeah, one for Rexaroni. Yeah. One for Bowser. One for Rigby. The mine boss. There you go, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they need that. They're hard-working miners. Let go of that. You little piggy. Now, I was just debating whether I was going to walk up there and kind of show you guys what I had in mind, my ultimate goal for this place. So right up in there, just before those little tiny rapids, that area right in there, it's full of boulders, and it's a big bedrock gully right here. It goes up on both sides, just like this here. And there's all kinds of big boulders in there I think I might be able to move once the water goes down. And while I was contemplating that, I took a little gander over here. Now, nothing specifically jumped out at me except those tufts of grass right there. You see how they're kind of laid down, and it looks like something crawled up and out of the water, and the grass is all laid down going up into the woods right there. And along with that, I looked right there. Right there is some really clear, super clear water right in there. And from this vantage point up here, I can see that there's a little bit of current up in there coming out of the woods. I think there's a little creek going through the woods right there, right through all that bedrock stuff over there. So I'm gonna go down there, back where we were, because it is gonna be way too deep for me to cross right here. That's over my head probably right now. So we're gonna have to beat some feet down that way to get up that way. All right, just gotta grab my peacemaker here, just in case we have to turn something into pieces. And off we go. Yeah. Nice and shallow here. Easy walking. Come on, boys. All too willing participants. All right. Let's get on up there. Go do a little exploring here. Oh, man. Yeah. It's thick back in here, too. Lots of pickers. All right, boys, you lead the way. Ay, ay, ay. Whew. That's some trudging, I tell you what. Through all that stuff right there. A lot of roots hanging up and out of the ground. But I do believe we are coming up on it here. Let me get over this. There we go. Ooh, I better be careful where I'm stepping around here. Fall in there, you break your leg. Yeah, that's down there a little ways, but there it is. Look at there. A teeny weeny little creek here. Yeah. Nice clean. Oh, is that crystal clear water and ice cold. I might have to do a little investigating around here. Yeah. And let me go up just a little ways here. Actually, let me go and take a little peek over there. I want to see that grass over there. It looked like something was coming up. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's going down. All that grass is pointed down. Looked like it was pointed up. Yeah, that's what old eyes will do for you. All right, I'm going to take a little walk up that way. See if we can't find something cool. Neat. Well, it's kind of petering out here a little bit. I mean, it wasn't much of anything to begin with. And a lot of it's just being absorbed into the ground and coming up down further where we were. So that's kind of telling me that there's probably bedrock pretty darn close to the surface here. Let me see if I can get through some more of this. Yeah, it just kind of goes off into small little nooks and crannies like that. There won't be nothing for us in here. But it was fun looking anyway. All right, we're going to head back and do another bucket. All right, Rigby. Yeah. We made it back. Come on, buddy. Yeah, he doesn't like getting his belly wet. Yeah, it's shallow over here. There you go. Yeah. There's Bowseroni. Here he comes. You don't mind getting wet. Woo, it's warm. All right, let's go get another pail of that stuff. Run it over to Sluice. All right, we moved our operation over here in the shade. That sun is hot, I tell you what. And as soon as we did, a big cloud came and covered up the sun. But it'll be back out, that's for sure. I just grabbed that same darn rock and stuck it over here. I sunk it in just a little bit. And it's actually running a little bit better up here with a little less current. I've got probably the same amount of pitch, but the water is a little more level. Yeah, and we're having fun. So let me run this one on there. If I see anything incredible that stands out, I'll fire the camera back up. Otherwise, we're going to run this one here and get this stuff over in my container. We're going to run it back to the shop, get it over my cleanup sluice, and see what kind of gold we got. All right, we're getting down to the bottom of the bucket here, but I absolutely had to show you what I noticed here. See that black sand in there? Right down in there. The bottom of this pail is just full of black sand. I mean, this stuff, once you get down into that clay, I don't know why the black sand is accumulating there so darn thick. But watch this sluice. It takes forever to wash that stuff off of there. And once it gets down to the nitty gritty, it's just gonna be nothing but black. Look at that. That's why there's so much darn gold in here, because I'm hitting the heavy pay layer. That is for sure. And that teeny weeny gold is sticking right along with this black sand. That is absolutely insane. Let me get another one of them. Just look at that. Oh man, this is a lot of fun, I tell you what. Well, we're almost done running this baby. We're gonna get the heck out of here. I just heard some thunder, I think. Or a train. And we've got it. That bucket is run. Here's all that material right here. And it's just absolutely packed full of black sand that I am not going through out here. And I forgot my god darn container. So, I'll just stick that right in there and grab some fresh water, rinse my pan out. Just like that. I had to snuffer up that last one. We'll throw that in there too. We'll get the heck out of here. What a nice day. Rexy, did you have fun today? Oh yeah. And my main man, Rig, you have fun today, buddy? Oh yeah. Bowser, how about you? Did you have fun today?
Yep.
Me too. All right, we've got a little bit of a hike out of here. So let me get all my gear and we'll pick this back up at the ranch. All right, we're back. For you, it was a split second. For me, it was about 2 hours. So we're gonna grab a little something out of the fridge of wonder. I've got my cleanup sluice all set up here. I've already got the material in a smaller container. Let's take a little look before we begin. And here's our material. Not all that much, but it's more than I feel like panning out. So I'll just run it over my little cleanup sluice here. These things work fantastic on this gold. That's why we invented it. For the smallest of small. And that's what this is. So let's fire this baby up. With my speed controller, out comes the water. I've already got a little bit of jet dry in there. I noticed that the gold was floating out in the field like crazy. And jet dry will stop all that. Now let me rustle up a spoon. There's one right here. Come here, yeah. And we'll throw one on there. Ooh-wee. Yep, there she goes. That might be running a little fast. Well, we'll get her dialed in. All right, let's throw another one on there. Now I doubt those little... Nope, there they go. A bunch of little BBs, shotgun pellets. I don't expect those to stay on here. Just the gold. There they go. I got an awful lot of them. Holy cow. Well, give me just a couple minutes. Boy, holy cow, there's an awful lot of BBs in there. But I do see some gold already. Fantastic. Let's see if I can get that on camera. Definitely. Right in there you can see a bunch of little pieces. I only put a couple little scoops on there. Oh, yeah. That gold is extremely hard to capture. But this thing here will get it. Back in a bit. And TV magic. We got it. That is a pretty nice little pile of gold for a couple of pails right there. Let me get that up close and personal. Take a little gander at how small some of those teeny specks on that edge are right there. Well, wait till you see what they look like under this here microscope. You get that back down into human mode. There we go. All right, let me slide that underneath there. We'll run that down. There we go. Down into micron mode. I'm working on it. Oh, I tell you, what's going on here? There, geez. Pretty handsome looking stuff for sure. There's some, I mean, the smallest gold you ever did see. Look at that. They're smaller than the little lines, invisible lines in this pan, for crying out loud. But we did get some larger bits. Let's see if I can scatter this thing around here a little bit. Look at there. Yeah, there's the big pile. There's a nice little bit right there. Really rough looking. It's got a little U-shape or something to it. But all those look just like boulders. Holy macaroni. I love gold. Well, there you have it. Another day in the life of Flourgoldwizard team. The boys had fun. I had fun. We ran some dirt. We got to explore around a little bit. And most importantly, we found some gold. That is some handsome looking gold. I just love that microscope. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So, until the next episode, like, share, subscribe. Please do leave a comment. It helps build our channel. Flourgoldwizards out.